Hello everyone, Nev here, and today I am doing another installment of my spread creation videos. I'm trying to do one of these a month. Yeah, and for this one, so last month I did a big focus on the This Might Help Oracle. This is a deck that when I first got it, I had a bit of a disappointment with it. And I say that because I think when I got this, I think I was expecting to use it in a certain way, and it didn't fit that way. And the readings that I was doing with it just weren't working. And I did a couple readings with this deck before I got pissed off and I put it away, and I was just like, this deck is the greatest disappointment of 2023 for me. Yeah, like very dramatic, all that. But I knew I wasn't giving it its fair chance. I knew I was just like getting a little frustrated with the first couple of readings, and so all of April I decided to focus a bit more on this deck, and I used this as the main oracle for a lot of my readings. How does this come into this video? All right, so one of the things that I found interesting about this deck was the descriptions. And when I was reading the descriptions to, do my readings, it's this part down here at the bottom. So I'm just going to use this page as an example here. So down here in the bold, as a clarifier, the ram will land on a card that is either controlling or being controlled. Or let's try this one, cross keys, as a clarifier. The cross keys suggest that the card under it is the key to the problem at hand. The card that the cross keys has landed on is important. This is how you get there. This is how you open the door. And as I was reading these, I kind of got the idea that these are kind of spread positions, like... I'm just going to throw out a couple cards here. Let's say you got the Veil, which this one comes up for me a lot, by the way. The Rope, and let's go with this one, the Fertile Earth, which I've gotten a few times too. So these could be spread positions. And, this is obviously not a new concept or anything. This is something that we do a lot, and I've done in these spread creation videos using Oracle, using the keyword as a... spread position, the keyword on an oracle. And so this is not much different, but I do, like here, for example, the Rope. This position as a clarifier, or in this situation, the spread position, the Rope will land on a card that will force you to take a pause, and if you have the right attitude, allow you to rest and grow. So that's a spread position, basically. And then we can go over here to the Veil. As a clarifier, the Veil will land on a card which represents something you cannot attain quickly. There are no shortcuts here. So something you can't attain quickly, and then the Rope was something you need to take a pause from and take a double look, because, this is based on the High Priestess, this is based on the Hangman, and then the Fertile Earth, this is just general Earth card, is in the back here. Let me find it. The Fertile Earth. As a clarifier, Fertile Earth will land on a card to tell you that you have what you need to cultivate and cultivate nourishment. The foundation is here. Yeah, so it's, I already forgot what Veil meant. Veil was, something you can't attain quickly. It's, maybe something just out of your reach. So something just out of your reach, needing to take a new look at it, take a pause and reassess, essentially. And then finally at the end, the Fertile Earth, the foundation, what you can go back to. So that in and of itself is a nice spread. And in fact, I can I have the This Might Hurt Tarot, which felt like a no-brainer to fit with this. And of course, my bags for these match because they're intended to go together. So I am going to use them as intended here. Well, for the most part, instead of putting the cards on top of a tarot card, I'm putting the tarot cards on top of this. So yeah, so I have the deck here, and let me just do a quick little shuffle because this isn't a real reading, it's just a little example, and I'm not even going to do that. All right, I'm just going to shuffle real quick and just pull some cards to put like basically on top of this. So the Veil is the Queen of Pentacles. The Rope, something we need to reassess, is Judgment. And finally, the Fertile Earth, something we can rely on, something we can go back to, that basically has our back, you know. And we have that as the Four of Cups. So that is a lot of reassessing is a big thing here. Reassessing some judgment. Maybe there's a person we're not understanding. And let me get more in frame here. So I'm actually going to put it like this. There. That way we can see the title of the card down here and then just see this on top. All right, so the Queen of Pentacles is the Veil, Judgment is the Rope, and the Four of Cups is the Fertile Earth. And, you know, maybe one way I might read this is maybe there's an actual person, maybe I'm reading this as an actual person, the Queen of Pentacles here, that we've sort of misjudged. And, or we've misjudged the situation around this person. And this is someone who maybe is being a bit too overbearing. Sometimes I can read the Queen of Pentacles in that way. This is someone who is overbearing, and we've maybe misjudged them. And they are offering us something that we're just not really paying attention to. Maybe that's how I'm reading this, and that's what we can fall back on. So sort of we've misjudged someone. So, you know, that's one way we could read this, use the, this might help. In a way, I feel like that did help. You know, that did help sort of bring some understanding to that. I'm going to shuffle this a bit more and try something else here too. And I am just sort of making this up as I go along. I really did not plan for this. I just had a general idea of using the This Might Help Oracle with the clarifiers as the positions. So one thing we could also do, and this is something that's kind of been going around a little bit in Tarotopia here, and you know, it's not exactly a new concept either, but the idea of the tarot stacking or card stacking, things like that. And I think Marlena did a video on this of stacking tarot cards like from a heavy deck versus a not so heavy deck, and then a really light deck, something like that, or it's reversed. I can't remember what order she did it in. But there's that. So basically using 3 different tarot decks, or potentially 3 different oracle decks, whatever. And then I think Tarot Magpie also did a video on like card stacking, which, you know, I will, if I remember when I upload this, I'm going to leave links to both of their videos down in the description. So the idea of just card stacking in general is something we could also do here. And so I pulled out a few other decks, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do this. It was just, you know, I just saw them and they came out to me. So let's say, for example, I have the Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck here. And let me pull this out of its bag. All right, so I have the Heavenly Bodies, and this is not a deck I use a lot. So that's another reason I like doing these spread creation videos, because it does allow me to pull out a bunch of decks that I almost never use. So let's say we're going to do a spread here or whatever, and it's not going to be multiple positions. I think it's just going to be one position that we stack onto. So we can maybe think of it like the big picture and then coming down to the smaller picture. And let me zoom out a bit here. So the big picture, I think we should go to the skies for. So let's go to the stars to find a big picture sort of energy. And I'll pull out this, and we have Saturn. Ooh, that's nice. All right, so feel restricted, experience struggle, learn hard work and patience. So those are the kind of the, and this deck also has its own sort of system too, but I'm not really getting into it, into the individual systems here. I'm kind of just pulling out cards and playing. So there's different aspects of this that we can tap into. So that's the starting moment. It's like the big picture. And then I pulled out the Bifrost Oracle here, and this is also a deck I almost never use, and I've talked about deity decks before on my channel, and I'm very particular about my deity decks, and this deck I did not buy. It came in a subscription box, so that's the only reason I have it, but it is a pretty cool deck. It's huge. There's like 80-something cards, like 80 cards, something like that. It's huge, and the artwork is actually really nice. It's all black and white, which is typically not my thing either, but the artwork is great. It's got the name of the mythological character or the deity, or the person from the legends in here, and then it's got keywords down below. So I don't follow any Norse deities, so that's why I wouldn't have ever gotten this deck myself. I would love something like this for Irish mythology, though. So, yeah, but if I were to use this, you know, if I were connected to these deities, maybe I could use it in this way, as we got that big picture out there, out in the stars, this big picture sort of energy, and we can kind of bring it in a little bit and see the guidance from a deity. You could read it that way, or you could just use the keywords on here, like frosty, mindfulness, lightness, impermanence. That would be cool too. So I'm actually going to do that. So we have the big picture out in the sky, and I gotta get under the camera to shuffle this. Sorry, this deck is just a little bit too large for my fingers, but it does shuffle nicely because it is nice and thin cardstock. So I'm just gonna shuffle it a little bit, and let's see what we pull out here. All right, so the big picture, maybe some guidance from a deity or something to really tap into here. The first man, that's interesting. So feel restricted, experience struggle, and then we got the first man. That makes sense. So maybe we're talking about here, we're kind of the first to do something, right? And that's kind of the struggle that's going on. We're the first to do this, and yeah, and maybe there's some struggle around that. There's a, like, okay, we're flying by the seat of our pants here. We don't, and it's interesting that this person's name is Ask, which in English, you know, but I think I'm not sure that has any correlation to the English word ask, but, you know, it is something you could pull out of that potentially. So, there's a feeling, there's a struggle of maybe an imposter syndrome sort of thing, because maybe there was an idea that came up, or you're the first to do something, and so there's no experience to go off of. There's no person to ask, you know, because this is the first person. So, and then how we could stack from there. I was wondering, should we do this one first or this one first? I am kind of doing this as both of these decks, so I feel like then we should get the hard truth by the this might hurt, and then the soft truth of this might help. And then we would be using this as how this deck intended to land on tarot deck cards. So I think we could do it that way. Again, I am just making this up. I am sort of, you know, the experience struggle here. I'm just sort of making stuff up, you know? So, that experience struggle of being the first to do something, and this might hurt. I'm using the name of the deck as the position, basically, what the struggle is. And I've kind of come up with that position based on what that big picture was. So, the Hierophant, we need someone to teach us. We don't have a teacher on this. We're flying, like, this is coming out so well. we're starting off feeling this sort of inexperience, and the reason is because we're kind of the first. We have no one to look up to. There's no like we're the first to be doing this, or we feel like we're the first doing this, or something like that. And I don't mean this because nothing I am doing here is really revolutionary. So yeah, all right, so. And then the actual struggle is that there is no, that we don't really have, that we kind of have to be our own teacher. That's how I'll read that. We kind of have to be our own teacher. So how this might help, let's see. The veil again. Okay. I'm not going to, I keep pulling out that card, which I know probably means something for me, but I'm going to pull out a different card because, you know, whatever. All right, let's go with this one. The Hooded Falcon. That's cool. Okay. Let me, because it's an Oracle deck, I don't know exactly what that means. So let's look up what the Hooded Falcon means. And it's basically part of the air suit here, I believe. All right. Let's see, where are you? The hot drink, broken cup, bird in flight, blindfold, double-edged sword, bonfire, the cat, salamander, fertile earth, hooded falcon. Finally found it. So there we go. So again, I'm just going to focus on the clarifier part here. The keywords are self-discipline and control. Oh, and this is part of the Earth suit. Okay, Earth. Yep, right there. So the Hooded Falcon. As a clarifier, the Hooded Falcon will land on a card to direct you to bring discipline into your life. Focus your gifts, make a plan, and preserve. You will succeed. So, I mean, that's actually super helpful. Like there's this fear of a sort of imposter syndrome fear going on here, because we sort of feel like we're maybe the first ones to do this, or we're coming in with a lot of experience, and we don't have a teacher. We don't have other people's experience on this matter to fall back on. But the Hooded Falcon, it has basically saying, look, you came up with this. You understand what you're doing. You can be your own teacher here. And it, you know, you feel this in your bones, and that's kind of what the Hooded Falcon is making me think of, because the Hooded Falcon is going off of muscle memory and you know, memories of past and their life experiences. So you may be the first or one of the first to venture on whatever path this is, and you maybe don't have a lot of people to look up to or for guidance, but like this is not, it's not really your first rodeo. You have a lot of experience doing this, and yeah, you've got this. Like you can be your own teacher here. So yeah, I think that actually worked quite nicely. So what do you think of that? You know, so we are doing some card stacking here, and again, you know, there's a few different people who have been doing the same sort of thing, so maybe this is one of my takes on it, combining multiple decks. And we didn't really do a position here. We just started off with a big picture, kind of reined it in a bit. Maybe there was a sense of guidance, an area where you know, and this spread position was based off of what this card said, which was the struggle part. So what the struggle is, and then how we can bring it together, how it might help. So that's cool. I think I'm going to try this one more time and see if we can come up with, see if we get a different reading. Whoops, I just dropped the book. Oh, here we go. Oh, and, you know, before I do the next reading, sidestep here, I am going to pull out my morning card, my morning daily card. I'm trying to remember to do this more often because I'm not very good at remembering my daily cards. So I'm just going to pull this. This is for me, but you know, it might mean something for you too, and I'm not going to really read into it much. So here we go. The Ram. All right. So I'm going to put that in my my notebook here. So we are on Dagda month here. And I've been doing such a good job remembering to do these, probably because I am pulling these out when I'm recording videos. The last few videos, I have pulled out my morning card here. So, all right, so I've done my job there. And now let's try another card stacking here. We're again going to do a big universe situation, big picture. All right. So we have opposition. So imbalance, a point of tension, and a power struggle. So again, we have the word struggle here. I'm going to try to focus on a different word in this because the last reading focused on struggle. So I'm going to focus on imbalance and see if that means anything for this reading. So again, I'm going to pull another card from the Bifrost deck. Now, like, you could use a different oracle for this. Let me pretend that this is the card I pulled. Like, you could use this as a sort of oracle, just kind of reining that in a little bit. We could do that. But I think I just want to use this deck a little bit. That I'm going to use this one for now. But yeah, I really wish there was something like this for Irish mythology, because like the size of this is insane. Like, it's really a big deck. So, yeah. So I'm going to pull out a card here. So imbalance is the main situation that's going on. And we have Gna, Messenger of the Gods. So, Messenger of the Gods. So this is a bit more, I don't know what the right word is. Like, less practical, I guess. It's more, spiritual. I think that's the word I'm looking for. So maybe you could be feeling an imbalance in your spirituality, that maybe there's not as much of a connection or something like that, or you're maybe feeling an imbalance with your relationships with deity or whatever sort of spiritual entity you use or not use, connect with. I think that's what I was trying to get to. Because opposition and Messenger of the Gods, or maybe there is a message that you've gotten recently from someone you respect, because it doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual, that maybe you're not you're not connecting with, that you're feeling in opposition to. So something like that. So yeah, there's lots of different ways I could read into that. And then because this deck is very specifically about deities, you could look up in the book some information about this deity. And I'm not sure, this is not in order of any sort of, yeah, so hold on, let me find where this deity is in this book. Okay, so this was an interesting way of looking through this, because these are not in alphabetical order or anything like that. They're separated by these little symbols here. Not sure if you can see that. So this deck kind of has, and it's the different realms of beings, deities, mythological characters, etc. in Norse mythology. So I looked up that symbol right here. Got the name here, which I'm not going to attempt to pronounce, and went and found that here. So it is the world of the Dark Elves. So then I went to that page and found this Dark Elf, basically. I'm guessing, so this Gna, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, is potentially is one of Frigg's maidens. She is the one who brings messages between the gods in Asgardul, and brings in all the other worlds. She rides a horse called that name, who can tread over water and in the air. In the spread, varying by her placement and the significance of the world in which she is placed, she represents a message. She represents communication. So communication could have been a good one here. And in fact, I'm not even going to read more of that, but I'm going to stick with communication. So there's an imbalance of communication going on. So that's how I would read that, if we're not going into too much of the mythology here. my voice is getting a little... but that is another layer that you could add to this, another stack of information. You can delve more into the deities themselves, or the archetype, or whatever it is deck that you're using. And again, that is partially why I am very stringent about my deity decks, because I don't necessarily view them as archetypes. I view them as actual beings. So with my practice, I shy away from decks that have a lot of deities that I don't have a connection with. So yeah, but anyway, I didn't buy this deck. This is one that came in a subscription box, and so I'm just trying to use it and get some understanding here. So there's kind of an opposition or an imbalance in regards to communication. So where is the imbalance? And that's how I'm the position for this one. Where is the imbalance? The Ace of Swords, which to me is all about communication. The Ace of Swords is like that punchy word yeah, like the Ace of Swords to me is kind of like that sharp tongue almost, or that sword of truth. That's one way I might interpret that. And I'm really connecting to the communication aspects of the swords, which the swords to me is often a suit of communication. It's the suit of the mind. Which also includes things like intelligence and words and yeah. So, and the Ace of Swords is just, it really is like that sword of truth. And let me grab the little book here for the This Might Hurt Tarot. Ace of Swords. And, oh, yeah, the key phrase right here is like perfect, cut through the bullshit. And maybe we're having a hard time doing that. Maybe we're having a hard time understanding what's real and what's not. What's the actual message that we need to receive? Or maybe I could read into this is in like media literacy. And we're getting bombarded by information, and there's sort of an imbalance of not knowing what source to trust. So that's kind of how I'm reading that. Being able to cut through the bullshit is maybe where the struggle is. And how might this help? So how might this help? Let's pull out one of these cards here, and let's see. Oh, the shackles. Wow. I'm going to grab the book. So I believe this is for the devil. Yes. So being tied to things, maybe. Yeah, let's see. The shackles. What holds you back? So something is definitely holding us back, or maybe it's an obsession over figuring out what's right and what's not, depending on the context of our reading here. Again, this is very much a general thing, and I'm just sort of testing this out, seeing if this is maybe something I might want to do with other decks or with these decks in the future. So as a clarifier, the shackles will land on a card that represents an addiction, constraint, or source of harm in your life. Harsh words, though harsh words, I sometimes I can interpret that more toward, like, say, the Queen of Swords. I feel like she can be quite sharp-tongued, but like, maybe there's a sort of obsession over figuring out the truth on something, and maybe sometimes we have to accept that we just might not know the truth. We have this information coming in. There's kind of an opposition or an imbalance going on. There's red flags being brought up, which I feel like those are things that we need to pay attention to. But maybe the shackles that we're tying ourselves to is getting bogged down by the details. and figuring out the why of every little thing, and or the truth of every little thing. And sometimes we just don't have the truth on every little thing. That could be the reading here. The shackles could also land on a card that represents a positive that you are unable to reach or fully embrace. I mean, finding out the truth can be a positive, and I think this is this general reading is there is an imbalance going on, and a struggle of trying to figure out, trying to cut through the bullshit of information that we're getting, this communication blockage or whatever is going on. And I think we're tying ourselves too much to the small details, and maybe we need to go back to the big picture. In fact, maybe let's just do something here, pull out another big picture card to kind of focus that. Maybe we can bring this here. Independence, bravery, and passion. Aries. Sure, we can end it with that. So I've added to this, and that's partially the fun of doing something like this. Just having a little bit of a play here. We've tied ourselves too much to focusing on the small details, and it's kind of gotten us stuck in this position of being in opposition. And we kind of just need to let go a little bit and find our independence and speak up of bravery. And focus on what we're actually passionate about. Focus on what's the bigger issue here. Let's see the forest through the trees. Let's not focus on all these small things that are throwing us out of whack. All right, so that was pretty fun. I think this is something that I might do in the future, especially if maybe I want to do just a general reading, or maybe for a client I want to do just a general reading, but they don't have a specific question. They just want a general reading. Something like this is what you could do, where we could really rein in on what the situation is, and it might help with that. This might help. So I hope that was fun activity. If you guys do any of these spreads, just let me know, tag me. I would love to watch your videos. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.